Sheri, I have a Nigerian kid on my soccer team. He's a college junior studying engineering. He has ridden with me from to and from the last couple of games. He likes my manual transmission Jeep, and I think he likes me. We have fun conversations. I enjoy learning about his culture. It's really great. He tells me that he'll show me around Lagos someday, the city in Nigeria that I need to go to, and he tells me that he'll make me feel safe, which I get the impression I wouldn't maybe want to go to Lagos on my own.
Okay.
I think him being with me is pretty important.
Okay.
That's just the impression I get. And we have lots of conversations. I asked him the other day that if he's ever been skiing. He's been here for a few years. I asked him if he's been skiing, and he said yes. And then he described ice skating to me and how he hurt his ankle. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you've probably never been skiing then if you think ice skating is skiing. But we have these great conversations. He tells me about playing soccer on the street growing up in Nigeria until high school. That was the first time they had the opportunity to play on grass at all. And the grass was sketchy at best, it sounds like. He gets along with all of our other players. His only complaint is that we should train more. Like he wants more soccer in his life, not less. He's very coachable. He's just a great kid. So Saturday night around 9 p.m., we were on I-70 and we were passed by this souped up Dodge Durango RT thing. We were in the middle lane. It was in the left lane. And right after it passed us, it pulled up next to some muscle car that was in the right lane. I was only like vaguely paying attention to what was going on. So we were like dropped back a little bit between these two cars. And when he got next to the muscle car, he hit the brakes so he'd go even with him. And then both cars started revving their engines at each other. And then they took off. So it was like the international symbol for let's race.
Street racing, yeah.
For street racing.
Oh, this is so prevalent here.
And my Nigerian friend, he wanted nothing to do with that. Not that my little V6 Wrangler had anything for those two cars anyway, but he was like, I'm glad, you're not like that. I'm glad that's not us. Let's just get safely home. 2 minutes later, I'm in the left lane of 5 lanes. It's after 70 has come into I-25 and that area. There's literally 5 lanes across. And I'm enjoying the conversation and not paying attention to where we're going, and our exit comes up. And it's nighttime. I look over my shoulder and I'm looking for headlights, and I can see that there's an open spot for me to get across.
Oh,
and
I can see where this story's going.
I did it. I crossed all 5 lanes and made the exit. I mean, I was tired. It'd been a long day. If I missed the exit, I'd have to, it add 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever. And let me tell you, he did not like that one bit.
I don't blame him.
And so I apologize. I said, listen, I am 100% sure that it was clear. Nobody had to brake. Nobody had to veer. I know it was clear, but in thinking about it in hindsight, that didn't matter. He didn't like that one bit. Here he is. He's in this foreign country that's becoming increasingly hostile toward foreigners. It's just him and his brother in this country. He's found somebody that he trusts in me, and I panic him, right? He had recently told me that the kind of visa that he would need to stay and work in the United States, he's on a student visa right now, and he's getting an engineering degree, completely marketable. We are training him, giving him these skills, the kind of visa that he's going to need an employer to pay for him to stay in the States after graduation used to be between $1,000 and $1,500, and now it's going to be $100,000 because of new policy changes. So he's got this U.S. engineering degree, marketable skills, but he's going to be back on the search for a new home. So he's in this foreign land, trying to get his footing, just him and his brother. All this uncertainty, all these just signs of complete bravery, and I have such admiration for him. He's getting good grades. He's just fighting all this adversity, and the guy that he trusts in the face of all this adversity becomes untrustworthy in like a split second. And
unsafe.
I made him feel unsafe. I wish I had missed that exit and taken the 5 minutes to turn around. Opportunities to make other people feel good. Even, like masculine soccer players with the balls to travel the globe and get educated, they benefit from an emotionally safe environment too. And this is a concept that I would not have even considered prior to the last couple of years when you and I have done all this work in understanding of what emotional safety is. And I just wanted to share that story with you. Because before I would have been like, I had it. It was fine.
Or you wouldn't have even understood why anybody would have been worried or scared. Because you would have been offended that they didn't trust you.
So I'll be curious to see if he asks for a ride to the home game this weekend.
I know.
Or if I have been checked off the list as just another, obstacle to safety and comfort here in this, he's doing this really hard thing.
Yeah.
Be curious. But I did apologize, and I'm glad that at least I have the experience with emotional safety that makes me aware, at least in hindsight, even if my instinctual actions still freaking suck sometimes. But you have experienced my instinctual actions sucking.
True Matt comes out.
Now.
I'm teasing. But like the unfiltered, you know what I mean? Like that instinctual guttural reaction.
I like that word, guttural.
Yeah. Guttural.
And instinctual, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The knee jerk. Matt's a jerk in the knee jerk. I'll have to find a better way to say that. But yeah, so thanks. I feel better. I feel like I feel like I did a little Catholic confessional here with you and our listeners. Yeah. Thank you.
I want to invite him over for dinner to say, sorry that my husband does that. He's getting better.
He
really is a good driver. He's just sometimes a little unnerving.
Yeah. Sheri, we got an email from someone that we've been in contact with recently. We actually read an email from her on the podcast a few weeks ago. Her name is Alfreda Thulin, actually. She's given us permission to use her first and last name. She wrote a poem. And before we hit the record button, you and I were joking. We were showing our naivete. Even though I am a writer, poetry's never been my jam. And this is one of those poems that doesn't rhyme. And I only know roses are red and violets are blue. So it is a poem because of the way she structured it. But I don't know, it's not a haiku. I don't know what it is. It's just a beautiful poem. Beautiful, but painful. Mm-hmm. And what this poem what this poem describes is what it's like to live with active, relatively high functioning alcoholism when you're still maintaining the day-to-day. Life doesn't end just because you're living with an alcoholism, and you can't just drop everything. Mm-hmm. And so it's really beautiful, and I'm hoping that you can read Alfreda's poem to us.
Absolutely. Of course I'd wish you'd step up and be a family man, but right now, heating our home is more urgent. Of course I'd want not to worry about your health and life, but painting the bedroom is more pressing. Of course I'd want our daughter to have a consistent dad, but what do I cook tonight is something I can solve. And so goes another day, your absence felt, ever aching like an amputated limb. But life goes on. I may be limping, but I am carrying my precious daughter, so I think about heating. I paint the walls and cook. All the while, trying to put that ever-present phantom pain in the back burner. The void in the depth of my being aching, not here, never here. So I carry on, the heating, the walls, the food, carrying a beautiful little girl, not here, never here. Gritting my teeth, I keep carrying on, carrying her, while you are everywhere but here.
Well done, Sheri. What a beautiful poem. Thank you very much, Alfreda. That is painful and powerful, and I can only imagine that the vast majority of our listeners really, really resonate with what that's like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, alcoholism sucks, but I still got to make dinner.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your beautiful words and your reality, your experience. Thank you, Alfreda. Okay, we're gonna shift gears here. We're gonna jerk the wheel 5 lanes across I-25. A lot of people think the chicken or the egg think that there's a chicken or egg relationship between alcohol or alcoholism and sex. What I mean when I say a chicken or the egg, I drink because my partner withholds sex. So I'm putting the onus, I'm a drinker, but I drink extra because I'm in pain and I am medicating rejection. We hear that, on a fairly consistent basis. The flip side of that is the partner thinking, I don't want to have sex because my partner smells like booze. My partner drinks. My partner is unkind because they're under the influence. I know that's how you felt. I know you lost we've talked about our differences in libido, and we're going to talk about those again here today. But it was more than a natural difference in libido. What semblance of attraction you had for me, I drank away because the alcohol was unattractive. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
That is fair.
I would never accept in a conversation with someone who's blaming their alcohol consumption on another person. So if somebody says that blatant word, I drink because my wife withholds sex, I'm not just going to be like, oh, that sounds hard. No, I'm going to say, wait a minute. We got to take some accountability here. Whether you're medicating rejection or not, you can't dump that all on your partner. I mean, maybe years ago I would have, but I think when it comes to, I don't think we can blame our alcohol consumption on anything. And let me make that clear. I'm not saying to you drinkers out there that, your wife's withholding is the only thing you're not allowed to blame your alcohol consumption on. If you get fired, if you break your leg, if you get in a car accident, if your dog dies, none of those things are, in my opinion anymore, a valid excuse for drinking. You got to take accountability and ownership, especially if you've crossed the line into addiction. That's your cross to bear, man.
You can't play the victim card.
Yeah, now I'm not saying it's easy.
Right.
I'll use Laura McCown's quote, which I love so much. It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. Mm-hmm. And so to just say, oh, not only did I become a drinker because these bad circumstances happened, one of which might be that my wife withholds sex. Not only did I become a drinker because of that, but I'm just going to stay in victim mode and I'm going to stay an active alcoholic because that situation continues. Man, you're never going to get healthy. You got to own your own addiction one way or the other eventually, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd never accept that someone blamed their alcohol consumption on another person. But until recently, I did think there was merit to this chicken or the egg. I drink because my partner is distant and invalid. It's not her fault, but it is an explanation for why I do it. It is the drinker's total responsibility to find a different way to cope. I know that now, but I could feel empathy and understanding. But now, I don't really think it's a chicken or egg at all. Or in other words, I don't think it's a which came first. I think there is a sequence to sex, Sheri. A sexual sequence. Do you think there's a sexual sequence?
I don't know where you're going with this, so I'll just listen along.
Ooh. Is it fun for you when I do all this prep work and then you sit down and you get to react? I bet it's a little bit like, hey, am I going to be able to keep up with this rambling lunatic enough to respond to his theories? Because I don't even know where he's going. Is there a little stress in that?
There is some stress in it, yes.
Yeah. But you feeling okay about this one?
Yeah.
So far. You don't know what I'm going to say.
I don't know where you're going, so it's a little anxiety.
Sheri, sex should be earned. Mm-hmm. It's not an entitlement of marriage.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
Or any relationship. Let's not just say marriage.
You're right.
Any relationship.
You're right. There is no such thing as a wifely duty.
Wifely duty to punch you in the nuts.
Do you like that? That
wifely
term?
duty?
Wifely duty?
Ugh, no.
I don't think that's really a word. I think that's a bad use of the English language.
Wifely?
Wifely.
Not a word?
I don't know. Probably it's in the dictionary now, but I don't think it should be. So there's no such thing as a wifely duty. I can think of little in our culture that has done as much damage to couples as the traditional wedding vows. You know how much I hate the wedding
Yeah,
vows.
I think anybody who listens to this podcast knows how much you hate
Well,
them.
maybe we've got a new listener this
Yeah.
week, and so I want to bring them up to speed.
Mm-hmm.
Till death do us part, and in sickness and in health, those just imply obligation that then gets morphed into sex. It starts out as generic obligation. You are chained to me no matter how this thing goes, whether I treat you badly or whether I get sick. And, this is where the disease model of addiction turns out to bite us, right? Because, oh, I'm sick, I have addiction, so you have to stay with me. You promise to stay with me in sickness and in health. And so that, I think, a lot of drinkers, and so let's give our gender caveat. Typically, the person with the higher libido in a heterosexual relationship is the man, not always. In other relationships that are not heterosexual or not, where gender identity is not man and woman, whatever, there is typically there's always somebody with a higher libido and somebody with a lower libido. And so the person with the higher libido often will take this obligation and morph it into a requirement for sex. In our relationship, which is the one with kind of the statistical vast majority, where the man is the one who is both the person that has the addiction and has also got the higher libido, we say, okay, till death do us part, in sickness and in health, you're bound to me. And part of being married is having a healthy sexual relationship. So you owe me sex. Just like, the word obey and Bible verses about obedience kind of get morphed and get twisted and get used to create a sense of entitlement. And that's just destructive in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
You with me on all that?
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to push back on?
No.
Do you want to hear my solution to that part? Do you like how I keep leaning
No,
in?
I don't actually. It's a little unnerving.
Am I getting into your personal space?
Personal space, please.
So if you're watching on YouTube, you're probably a little disappointed in me right now. If you're listening, you probably don't realize how close to Sheri's ear I'm getting. I am on a mission, Sheri, to eradicate all traditional wedding vows and replace them with one promise. I hope all 4 of our kids, if they so choose to get married, I hope this will be their wedding vow. The vow is, if you don't consistently treat me with respect, I vow I will divorce your ass. Amen. Doesn't that sound great? You may kiss the husband if you want, or not. It's your body, your decision. That's what the follow-up would be.
Yeah.
Be pretty. Wouldn't you love to go to a wedding where I would get up and fucking cheer. I would go nuts.
And holler, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's back up to the beginning. One of the confusions around sex and marriage is related to freely given sex well before marriage. Get ready, Sheri. This is where I'm going to start peppering you with questions.
Oh, yay.
Why did you so readily and easily often agree to and even seem enthusiastic about sex with me early on when we were casually dating?
Age, hormones.
So you had a little more libido than you do now?
A little bit more libido.
Okay.
Lubrication with alcohol.
Not just me, but you also.
Yeah, kind of lets go, you're uninhibited a little bit more. Also, it was dating and playful, and it didn't seem like it was a serious relationship that held a lot. And I know this goes against what we want our kids to do is get into a committed relationship and then you have sex. But when you're not in a truly committed
Speak
relationship.
for yourself.
Okay, well, I'm just when we were kids, we always were told, oh, don't have sex until you're married. So
what did we do when we were told don't have sex till you're married?
We had sex.
That 5 minutes later we were involved in
I
sex.
wasn't as much of a slut, obviously, as you, man.
Oh, please. I'm just saying we've
please.
done a whole podcast on don't tell me not to do something because I'm going to immediately do it.
Right.
But I think that's part of it. You're right. The abstinence only until marriage, K through 12 sexual education curriculum is a huge, huge, huge mistake. Anything else you want to add?
I lost my train of thought.
The reasons that we had more
Also, because
free, casual, go get them tighter
I
sex.
mean, it was college, it was the age, like it was just fun. What do you do after midnight or 3 o'clock in our case when the bar's closed? I don't know, let's go have sex. I mean, like that's just kind of what you did. That was the people that we kind of hung around with, and was a little bit of the expectation. And I guess in some like deep way, but I wasn't really aware at the time, I felt like if I wanted to keep dating you and I wanted to keep you interested, I had to have sex with you to keep you, interested in
Yeah.
me.
I think that's a well-rounded list. When we were casually dating, no promises, no pressure, no financial obligation, no kids, and all of that I think culminates. This is all stuff I've learned from you and from other people that have, felt bold enough to express this to us. You were relaxed enough about sex because it didn't mean anything. The stakes were low.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy for you to get relaxed enough to have sex.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're being emotionally abused by an alcoholic who does not identify with the concept of emotional abuse and would never own, I own it now, but at the time never would have owned it. But when that's your experience, being belittled or criticized or, sometimes cursed at or told that your thinking is wrong and gaslit and, all these terms we use associated with alcoholism, when you're on the receiving end of that, how could you possibly relax? How could you possibly feel desire for that person?
Well, you don't feel any desire, and then you also feel very hesitant because then you know that there might be a memory, because this often happened in our relationship where you're like, you used to enjoy this, you used to really like doing this, you were so much more fun. Well, you're afraid you're going to do the wrong thing, but you also like can't stop your body from like not performing, or you're hesitant and it's coming through. I mean, there's no way that you can really pretend to enjoy sex that much when it's with somebody that you have no respect
Unless
for.
you're Meg Ryan sitting in a diner. But no, you're right. I think you're totally right. And that was part of what, caused me to come up with the term that there is rejection inherent in consent. When we did get to the point where you were still performing obligatory sex, I could tell you weren't interested. And when I was drunk, I didn't care. But when I was sober, that hurt like hell. The rejection inherent in consent. And so I'm not laying that on you as any kind of blame. I'm just sharing what that experience felt like. So I took that signal from our youth, our young adulthood, that signal of frequent sex, and I made it something to which I felt entitled. I know now that I have to consistently and constantly earn the sex that I want, but I didn't understand that back then. And so when men say, you never have sex with me, that's why I drink, I know a lot of other men don't understand that sex is always earned and never entitled either. I know this is a pervasive problem out there. Maybe some of the details are different. I think a lot of relationships start with some kind of free love and go get 'em, tiger. It's after 3 o'clock. What are we going to do anyway?
3 a.m.
3 a.m. And oh, by the way, I'm trying to keep this guy interested in me, so I'm just going to give it up. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of relationships stop like that and create that sense of entitlement. But when the stakes get high and you've got financial obligation to each other, you're married, maybe you have kids, you're depending on each other, it's not free willing anymore, especially for the women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're on the same page about all that?
Yep.
Sex has to be earned, always. After we tell our listeners about our sponsors, we're going to tell them how the sex sequence works. Does that have you on the edge of your seat or what? Sex sequence. No, more enticing words have never been spoken. For the best.
I'm just thinking of like you foreplay, then this, then that, like, or pre-foreplay, or foreplay begins at the end of the last orgasm, like those sort of sequences.
We're going to tell people where to put it.
You're going to tell people.
No, we're not.
Because I'm tell people where to put it.
No. Where do I put it? What do I do with it? No, we're not going to do that. We'll explain the sex sequence. Hang in there. It's for the benefit of both partners, the horny and the ambivalent alike.
The horny and
That's
the
what we should
ambivalent.
nickname ourselves. Listen to the Untoxicated podcast. Listen to the horny and the ambivalent.
Yeah.
We're sponsored by SoberLink. SoberLink is the premier remote alcohol monitoring system combining cutting-edge technology with compassionate design to support accountability in recovery and family law. SoberLink is the single most important tool for accountability in relationships with a partner in sobriety and in co-parenting situations with a parent in sobriety. SoberLink is like a personal trainer who comes into your home.
What do you mean?
Okay, so the hardest part of working out is putting on your shoes.
Not for me. Putting on shoes is easy. The actual doing it.
Well, but the putting on the shoes leads to the doing it. And once you're into the workout, and definitely when the feeling of accomplishment of getting it done sets in, the workout is always a success. But the biggest threat to the workout is actually getting started. Do you at least agree with that part?
Yeah, getting out of bed is hard.
What if you have a personal trainer who comes into your bedroom and drags you out of bed every morning and laces up your shoes to your feet?
Oh, that sounds terrifying, illegal, and a massive violation, I would assume. I'll have to ask Lundy about that.
Yes, from our last podcast.
Yes.
Well, you get that workout done, and that's what it's all about. It's about getting her done and accountability. And that's what SoberLink provides. Let's say I had a bad day. I'm home alone, and I know I could just drink a few drinks to ease my stress and sadness. But because I know I have a scheduled SoberLink test coming up, I don't. SoberLink is like a personal trainer in my house, keeping my workout of my sobriety muscles going. It is great. And now, for a limited time, SoberLink is offering Intoxicated Podcast listeners an offer ID for a $100 enrollment bonus that you can use when you are ready to welcome the accountability of SoberLink into your life.
So that is $100 enrollment bonus for SoberLink's best-in-class service and product combination with built-in facial recognition, tamper detection, expert in-house support, email daily, weekly, and monthly reporting that is court admissible in all 50 states and Canada, unlimited testing days, and scheduled testing to build accountability and trust.
But Sheri, the big question is, will SoberLink break into your house and lace shoes onto your feet?
No.
Thank God, no. Enroll when you are ready, but right now, while the offer is still available, grab one of SoberLink's offer IDs for Intoxicated Podcast listeners for a $100 enrollment bonus. There's never been a better time to check out SoberLink.
That is on top of the fact that SoberLink now allows new customers to pay a monthly service charge as low as $19 per month with a qualifying monitoring plan, and it's rather than that big upfront cost to purchase a device.
Claim your offer ID for a $100 enrollment bonus. There is no commitment required to claim your offer ID while this promotion lasts, and you can use your $100 enrollment bonus when you are ready to place your order. To claim your offer ID, you will only be asked to provide your name and email address. No personal details, no commitment, and no credit card number. To claim your offer ID for your $100 enrollment bonus, please go to soberlink.com/untoxicated. Aren't you angry? Aren't you full of resentment? Aren't you sick of watching the life you believed in be slowly, progressively replaced by a life full of denials, gaslighting, deflection, chaos, and lies? Is this what you signed up for? Okay, so you didn't cause it, you can't control it, and you can't cure it. But don't you deserve more than a mantra that defines your helplessness? Don't you deserve answers and a way back to a life of peace and fulfillment? Echoes of Recovery is much more than a place for you to complain and be validated as a victim. Echoes of Recovery is a place for you to process your anger and resentment, to create an enforceable set of boundaries that fit your life, determine if and how you will detach, and answer the stay or go question in a way that serves you and your children.
In Echoes of Recovery, we don't tell you what to do. We'll tell you what we did. what worked and what didn't, and give you the tools and support to blaze your own path out of the depths of anger and despair.
Echoes of Recovery isn't about learning to tolerate a substandard life. Echoes of Recovery is about moving from surviving to thriving and joining a cause bigger than all of us. Echoes of Recovery isn't about refusing to let alcohol, the dysfunctional drinking of someone else, define you.
Define us.
If you are tired of feeling defeated and hopeless, and you are ready to control the things you can control and walk out of the misery with us arm in arm, please go to echoesofrecovery.org and take our 1-minute quiz to find out if you belong in Echoes of Recovery. Whether you ultimately join us or not, don't you deserve to know? Please go to echoesofrecovery.org. All right, the unveiling is here. The sex sequence. First, number 1, emotional safety. So, I'm a drinker. Maybe I'm not drunk. Maybe I just like a few cocktails here and there. Maybe I don't drink every day, but maybe it's a few times a week. And when I drink, maybe you as my partner, Sheri, you just don't know what to expect. Sometimes I'm going to be fun and playful. Sometimes I'm going to be quiet and maybe to myself. Other times I am going to go on a rant about politics or my sports team losing or that big purchase you made that we didn't talk about, or the fact that one of the gutters fell off the house or whatever. But the point is, the alcohol makes it so you never know what version of Matt you're going to get. Okay? Now, one thing you do know pretty consistently about Matt is once he's done with his drinking and his antics, he's going to want to have sex. Matt always wants to have sex. I'd push pause right now and have sex right now if you wanted to, but I don't think you do. And I can tell by the fact that you're not reaching for the pause button. So you never know what version of Matt you're going to get, but you know what's coming eventually, probably. And because you don't know, you're in nervous system activation. Some of the time, that's as far as it goes. The uncertainty creates you being in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Other times, you actually have to act on the nervous system activation you're in because I am criticizing one of the kids too harshly, or I'm getting out the ladder after 6 beers to try to hang the gutter that fell off the house, or whatever. There's some need. It moves from uncertainty to certainty, and you're certain that something bad's happening. Either way, this emotional lack of emotional safety, is that an aphrodisiac for you?
No, not at all.
Okay. Back in the casual sex days when we had no commitments,
Still wouldn't have been an aphrodisiac.
But what about if, remember that house that we rented across the street from the Indiana University football stadium?
That you and friends, not you.
Yeah, you and I weren't living together.
Yes.
I think there were 9 of us in that house. I remember one night, I think you were there, I don't remember. We broke into the stadium.
I wasn't there.
Like, we didn't do any damage, just climbed over a fence and then laid on the field in the middle of the field and said, ha ha ha, look at us, we're so cool. We didn't break anything or anything. But would that kind of adventure, would that be an aphrodisiac in the casual days?
Yeah, because I used to do some pretty silly, crazy, fun stuff that was not harming ourselves or others or property.
Okay.
So that could have been fun and playful and adventurous and a little adrenaline, So that would have been an aphrodisiac.
Let me shift some of the background narrative a little bit on that same scenario.
But if we got arrested, we wouldn't have had to worry about where our kids were.
That's where I was going. Now, we have kids, we have a business together, and it's a small business, small as in one of us has to be there all the time. And we have a mortgage, and we have kids, and we have all these, obligations. Now, if I say, hey, Sheri, me and the boys are going to climb the fence at Indiana University, hope we don't get arrested, but oh well.
Or break a leg.
Now is it an aphrodisiac?
Absolutely not. You're a stupid moron.
Okay. Same person, same act.
Yeah.
Circumstances change.
And you've hopefully reached a level of maturity that you understand the responsibilities, which your life at, 50 or 45 or whenever you do this is versus at 22.
Okay.
So that just shows to me that you haven't grown up and matured a little bit.
So we have established the fact that a lack of emotional safety is not an aphrodisiac for you, and I think many people like you, which I think 95% of the people that listen to this are people like you. Well, maybe not that high, but a big percentage. So we've established the fact that a lack of emotional safety is as Esther Perel would call it, an anti-aphrodisiac. But I love to hear her Belgian accent say that. What about when there is emotional safety? Again, this is the sex sequence we're talking about. So it's like, okay, what's the foundation? Where's the groundwork? Let's say I have been sober for a number of years, and so every time I walk in the door after work, you're not worried, is he going to drink and is he going to drink too much, right? That worry has gone away.
Correct.
Now, like we always say, sobriety doesn't fix anything, it's only a prerequisite. But in addition to being sober, I've done years of recovery work. And I've learned that screaming at the television and ranting about whatever thing that raises the level of anxiety in the whole house, and the kids who are down in their room doing their homework hear me yelling and they don't know if I'm yelling at the TV or I'm yelling at you or what's going on. So I've learned that that's important, that I eliminate that. Because for many years, Sheri, I thought if I'm yelling at the TV or I'm yelling at something that happened at work today as I'm telling you a story, yes, I'm raising my voice, but I'm not yelling at you or the kids. So what the hell right do you have to be set off by the fact that I'm yelling? I deserve to express my emotions. I am a human who lives through things, and I have to have an outlet for that. And so I thought for years, that kind of anxiety instilling outburst was justified.
Mm.
But what does that do for you and the kids? Let's say
Well, the kids don't always get to hear what the yelling is. They just hear the raised voice and the intensity, and so they're going to make up something if they can't figure it out. They're going to be worried about something that, oh, wonder what they're talking about, or what dad's yelling about, that mom did, whatever. But really, it's maybe about whatever happened that between you and somebody at work.
You mean sometimes the kids don't know what's going on and they make up their own stories?
Yeah.
That's hard to believe. For, let's see, how old was he at the time? For like 16 years, our third child thought that every time my computer was open, I was doing taxes.
Yeah.
He knows that on that one day a year when I do taxes, that I'm a miserable cuss and anybody wants to be around.
We all leave the house now, but he just
every time.
As soon as you get everybody's W-2s, you're like, let's do the taxes, and I'm gonna be miserable. But yes, kids will make up and fill in whatever's going on, especially if they're raised in a home where there has been arguments and intensity.
Exactly.
And also, even if you are in recovery and you've been in recovery for a while, but maybe you haven't learned this like you have, that's just very triggering to see someone become so emotionally like unhinged, or is maybe too strong of a word, but unstable and definitely unsafe. But it's a very triggering and very reactive way, which our brains have a tendency to have those grooves, and we can go right back to a very, very bad memory.
Yeah.
Because, sure, there had probably been memories of where it started out that you were just ranting about some guy at work.
Right.
This has been an example within our own relationship. We were ranting about someone we knew, and then you just get in this sour mood, and then it turns on how everybody is awful human being and unreliable, and even you, Sheri, you're very,
So, two things there. One, it can turn. I'm sour now, and I'm just going to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very believable.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the other one. Stick with the original premise. I'm yelling about somebody at work, something that happened to me. I'm yelling to you. You're interacting with me. The kids in other rooms only know I'm yelling and they don't know what's going on. And here's what's important. You know that the kids are hearing me yelling and that it's making them uneasy.
Mm-hmm.
You know that they don't know what I'm yelling about, but you know that I'm creating anxiety in them.
Mm-hmm.
Complete turn off for you. Complete lack of emotional safety. Fair?
Yes.
It's not enough for me to be like later, like, hey, let's get jiggy. You knew the thing I was yelling at wasn't about you. Because in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, but you terrorized my kids. And that matters to me.
Yeah.
You are the nurturer. And terrorizing your kids is a big, big no-no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so emotional safety is creating that environment where you can relax, you can drop your guard, you can get out of nervous system activation. You're not on eggshells. You're not worried about what insensitive thing I'm going to say. You're not worried that I'm going to raise my voice. You're not worried that I'm going to overly chastise the kids or over punish. You're not worried about what's going to come out of my mouth or body. Fair?
Fair.
Okay, so sex sequence, emotional safety, established. Next step, emotional intimacy. This is more proactive. This is where I say, Sheri, how was your day? And I don't say that while I'm scrolling my phone, or I don't say that while I'm getting a snack ready or, packing my bag for soccer. I'm actually asking you, or even better than how was your day, because that's pretty generic. There's something that I know you told me about yesterday or you told me this morning that's a concern of yours. And then when I first see you again, I ask you about that. Hey, that thing with your mom or that thing with our cat that's been sick, how's that going? And then when you start to talk, I look at you, I listen intently, and I don't try to solve your problems for you. I give you all the space you need to explain how you're feeling. And maybe I offer some validation. Yeah, that sounds hard. That sucks. Hey, do you want? Maybe I ask, hey, can I offer some suggestions? Do you want to hear that? Or are you feeling good just getting that off your chest? These are all examples of emotional intimacy. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yep.
So when I talk about this sequence, does it feel like, okay, like I almost picture like a combination lock on a safe. And you turn to the right and you hit that number and the little thing falls, whatever that thing's called. Click. Okay.
Pin.
Then you turn back, so that's emotional safety. Then you turn back to the left and the pin for emotional intimacy falls. Mm-hmm. Like we're starting to unlock your chastity belt.
We should not. Oh,
you were with me on the analogy, but I lost you.
Yeah. Also, I would just want to interject that in emotional intimacy, it's a two-way street, in this regard.
Do tell.
It's also not that I need you to listen to me, but I need to listen to you and extend those same questions. Like, do you want any input from me? And if you do, just say, okay, I'm not doing this very well. Say you come home and you're in a sour mood and you are kind of ragging about somebody, and I say, hey, mm-hmm. I don't have the bandwidth to listen to this right now.
Okay.
Can we talk about this when you've calmed down a little bit? Because it seems like your raised voice and your animated gestures are creating some unrest in me.
Yes.
Creating some triggers. That I just need you to go find a way to calm down about it. And then I want to hear in details, because maybe you can come up with some solutions, but I think it needs to be extended that way, where I need to be able to share something that's, even though it's your pain point, I need to be able to let you know that it's creating a lot of anxiety in me.
What if I say, God damn it, I never get my feelings heard. I never get my needs met. You say I don't talk to you enough, and here I am. I've got something to say, and you can't even take it in. You're a terrible wife. What if I say that?
And then I would say, because the way you're behaving isn't in a very emotionally safe way.
Yeah, we're back to number one.
Yeah.
We're trying to engage in emotional intimacy,
not everybody's
communicating.
Perfect, right, and not everybody is perfect.
Yeah.
So that's where the emotional intimacy is. It's two-way street. You're going to have to sometimes let me be able to say, I can't accept the way that this conversation is going. We need to take a break from it. We'll talk about it in a little bit,
Now, I would offer, I totally agree, but I would offer that an example of emotional intimacy is that happens, and I do calm down, and then you come back and follow up and say, hey,
thanks for...
I've got some I'm done with whatever I was doing and this is a good time. Why don't we go on a walk around the block and you tell me what's going on?
Yeah.
And so you're offering to be intimate with me in an emotional way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff. Two-way street. Agreed. Okay, so sex sequence, emotional safety, emotional intimacy, and then sexual intimacy. As a man, I don't feel like my needs are met until we hit number 3, sexual intimacy. And I think you know that by now. Do you?
Yes.
Okay. But I shouldn't demand it. I should earn it. And that change in mindset has changed my life. I can't think of anything that has any mindset shift that has had as significant a life change for me. Well, there's one exception. When I realized you didn't like me anymore. But so this change in mindset is in the top category for me of mindset shifts that I've had over the course of my 5 decades of life that have impacted me in a positive way. Just understanding that you don't owe me anything. I don't deserve to have an entitlement. There's no such thing as a wifely duty. I have to go out and earn sex as opposed to demanding it. And really, because I now have this sequence, because I know what I've got to do to earn it, it's actually kind of fun. It kind of fits with the whole kind of, hunter masculine kind of theory of existence for me. Oh, she's not just going to bring it to me on a silver platter. I got to go get it. I go get me some. It feels good.
Follow that up with.
I bet that's an aphrodisiac.
Yeah,
having your man say, I got to go get me some.
Yeah.
It's much more rewarding when I earn it. And I think it's important that we understand this mindset shift for me, pardon me, has resulted, and the work that you've done has resulted in a dramatic improvement in our sex life. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This isn't, and our libidos have always been mismatched, as most partnered people are. We've had sexual desire discrepancy like most people, most relationships do. If you want validation for that, go Google it. There's hundreds of studies that have been done about sexual desire discrepancy and the many, many causes of it. The bottom line is partners almost always, I could make the argument that it's always, have a different libido and a different level of desire for sexual contact. And so improving our sex life, making us more compatible sexually, has nothing to do with adjusting our libidos. It's still 10-1 for us. Tell our listeners what 10-1 means.
That you would want to have sex 10 times a week to my 1 time a week.
But Sheri, there's only 7 days a week.
Yeah, because there's multiple times in a few days.
Morning sex is pretty great, isn't it? And kitchen table sex. You're just not going to answer that, are you?
Well,
I think they would be great. But yeah, so 10 times a week, and you would like to have sex
I didn't want to say
how many times a week?
Because some people might think that's great. But yes, so Matt would be for 10 times a week for sex, and I would be for 1.
Okay, and so improving our sexual relationship was not about me doing work to reduce my libido to 7 and you doing work to increase your libido to 3 or 4. That isn't what fixed our relationship. What has dramatically improved our relationship is you play a huge role in this too, but for me, I know that if I provide emotional safety and then I engage in emotional intimacy with you, I prepare you for the possibility of sex, but it's still your decision. There's no obligation, but I have earned myself a better chance. I have clicked the pin lock left, clicked the pin lock right, and I've made it a possibility. You haven't become more horny, but you feel safe and protected and cared for. And for you, feeling safe and relaxed is hugely important, correct?
Yes.
For me, feeling masculine is important. And we've talked recently started talking about the concept of emotional masculinity, and this plays in. Masculinity is about leading, providing, protecting. When I'm providing emotional safety and I'm protecting emotional intimacy and I'm leading conversations about that are emotionally intimate, that allows me to feel masculine while creating that safe emotional environment. Let's talk about your part, because I think we're drilling down to the most important part of the conversation when we talk about this sex sequence. Your libido hasn't increased, but you are more willing to engage in sexual contact as maybe partially you look at it, and I want to hear from you. Partially you look at it as a reward for my behavior, do you? Or you're feeling like you're being treated well, so you have a desire to reciprocate and be generous. So even when you don't want it from a sexual arousal and desire standpoint, you are still more willing and even to some extent eager to engage in sexual contact because I have become someone that's safe and someone you love and someone that you want to provide for. How do you feel about that?
I think that the word that struck me the most when you were reading your notes, I think that I have more respect for you now than I did in the past. And I feel like having more respect for you, because there is a communal respect, I can say no and I'm not going to get pressured or bothered. But I also feel like I can respect and appreciate your higher libido from a point of view that it is, that your libido is yours and mine is mine, and we can be okay having different levels of interest, and that I have just more respect for you as a human, and I want to help you feel good about the relationship. So when I think that you said that it was a reward for your behavior, I don't feel like it's necessarily a reward for your behavior.
That's a little bit misogynistic sounding, isn't it?
I just feel like I have more respect for who you are, and I want to be a good partner for the person that you are.
I love that. Sometimes, you have been so direct as to say, I know you've had a stressful day, and I know it's late and you need to get to sleep, so I want to offer this to you. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's very giving and generous. And so maybe reward, maybe that's not a great word.
But yeah,
is that about the respect thing?
I think it is about the respect thing, because if I didn't respect you, I wouldn't care if you got sleep or not.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me if you had a hard night's sleep if I didn't have the respect for you. But also that I respect that it isn't just you being drunk and horny and, getting what you want because you're like immature and you're responsible and not a good partner. It's just, I have more respect for you now because so many areas have grown and changed with your recovery. And, I had to accept the fact that, yes, I am now out of childbearing age,
not.
Kind of, almost. But, we're done having kids.
Yeah.
And that takes an emotional challenge when the kids are younger to find times for it. And it's exhausting. But, now we're almost like empty nesters because the only one left at home has a lot of times where he's gone.
Very active young man.
Very active. He's got to stay busy. But also, I don't have to just turn it into doing it 10 times a week and on the kitchen table just because you want to. But there is that mutual respect that, I don't want to. Mm-hmm. And I feel comfortable, emotionally safe.
Let me ask you a little bit more about that. You said that now versus the olden days, the active addiction and early sobriety days, you feel comfortable rejecting me. Mm-hmm. How important is that? If we say that overall our intimate relationship, emotional and physical intimacy, has gotten dramatically better, how important to that is the fact that you know you can reject me without getting backlash?
Oh, well, I've never tried to quantify that.
I mean, you don't have to use a number, just
Yeah, I mean, it's
is
gotten
that big deal or little deal?
It's a big deal. It's a big deal because I know that I'm free of pressure and cajoling and bad behavior from you, and that I can just say no and be done, and the night can move on. And I'm not responsible for your disappointment because you know, like you can be disappointed, but you're not gonna be pouty, and I'm not gonna be. And I've just grown in a way that, and maybe it's my self-respect that and education about educating myself about this. I don't have to be responsible for your happiness.
One of the things that I'm very embarrassed about that carried well into my early sobriety period was what we called the agreement, which was I had somehow convinced you that my sex drive and the stress of my work and all of these things were such that I needed sexual contact every night. And you just got browbeaten into eventual agreement with that policy, that terrible, terrible policy. But what strikes me now is, you know, even when we had the agreement, I feel like now our sexual contact might be even more consistent. It's certainly more mutually pleasurable than when we had the agreement. The agreement was toxic because you didn't have autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no, I'm not going to back off of that. You didn't have autonomy. I could say I never forced you, you agreed to it, but I browbeat you into agreeing to it. I coerced you into agreeing to it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, is it less awful than rape? Yeah, it's less awful than rape. But not by a lot. Only by a little. And so, I mean, I could make the argument that when there is no agreement, there's no feelings of obligation, that not only is the enjoyment better, but even the consistency and frequency might even be better. Yeah?
Yeah.
Nodding and thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I was just trying to think of something clever to say there, but yeah.
I mean, that was a bad feeling, wasn't it? I mean, I bet you felt a little bit dirty every night.
Yeah, the scheduledness of things. And that's why even if it's like an agreement, like we need to have physical contact this many number of nights. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like, cause what if I've had a really bad day and we're getting to the end of the week and I've got to fulfill my quota? That's how I feel. And then it just becomes a check mark. Okay, got that chore done, got that, and we actually just had a conversation about this not too long ago.
Maybe I'll change the name of the episode. Sexual quotas are bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just how it made it feel. It just made it feel very chore-like instead of it being mutual and natural. I mean, it doesn't have to be spontaneous. I mean, you and I talk about sex every night when we're in bed. Like, we're real glamorous. Like, are we going to do it or are we not going to do it? We're like...
What's interesting about that conversation, though, is...
It takes a lot of pressure off of waiting for who's going to make the move and then the disappointment if nothing happens.
But the other thing, you're right, it takes the pressure off. But the other thing is, you and I usually answer for each other. When we talk about sex every day, every night, it's more often than not, it's, well, here's what I noticed, Sheri. I noticed that you had these 3 things that were stressful and they all happened toward the end of the night. And so my guess is you are not interested because you're not relaxed, and relaxation is a huge component for arousal for you. Or you will say, like I gave in my previous example, gosh, I noticed how stressful your day was, and it's been a few days, and I bet you would really enjoy it if we had some contact tonight. Mm-hmm. But did that surprise you when we started this idea of talking about sex every night?
Well,
that we usually...
It manifested into that because we were answering for ourselves, but I think that's because of the emotional safety and emotional intimacy that was growing throughout that time frame of the relationship, where we started then putting ourselves in each other's shoes and more respect of our own libido levels.
Yeah.
I think that was something, it didn't start out like that. We were answering for ourselves.
It morphed into that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I think is a really important takeaway from people that are in a relationship with sexual desire discrepancy, where one person has higher libido than the other, our relationship, in our situation, the man more than the woman, there's really only one. No, that's not true. That's not true. I can't say that. There are a variety of desired outcomes for me for sex. There is definitely a selfish component. I want to orgasm. That's true. Sometimes I want other things for you. But I think it's important that sometimes you want things for me and you want things for yourself. You want tender touch. You want caressing. You want comfort. You want to feel safe. You want all of that. But you don't want to orgasm. And that doesn't mean you're not willing and engaged.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought you were going to say
all
more.
Your words.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to say.
I just think it's important that.
Well, that you.
I never thought that. I always thought sex was about orgasm, and in my perfect world, you would orgasm every time I orgasmed. But now I've learned that it's a little more work. And it's not that I'm not willing to put in the work. You just don't want to go there sometimes. Right. It's just not the mood you're in.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're not interested in physical contact.
Yeah, I think that's just you becoming more educated about the opposite gender.
Indeed.
And, educated about me and what I like.
Thanks for sharing so much about your part in all of this. For my part, I want to be a hunter, not a whiner. I'm not going to go around quoting scripture about how you owe me. I am protecting through emotional safety, and I'm providing through initiating emotional intimacy. And protecting and providing feels masculine. I can tell in your non-sexual touch how you feel about it. I know you'll like this, Sheri. It's like when a cat purrs. Your touch indicates relaxation and safety, even when your touch does not indicate arousal. And I'm very familiar with the touch that indicates I'm reluctant and I don't want to be here and I don't want to be doing this. And luckily, I almost never feel that anymore, because you just say, I'm not interested, and then we don't have to experience that. So It's amazing the progress that we've made in this area.
It is.
And I want it for other people too. I also want to know, listener, what are you looking for in a relationship? What would be attractive in a partner? Please take our survey on attraction and relationship dynamics if you have not already done so. Please go to stigmasurvey.org. We are particularly in need of survey participants in the age 18 to 29 group. All relationship statuses, sexual orientations, gender identities, and ages, as long as you're over 18, are welcome. Please take the survey at stigmasurvey.org. Thank you for listening to the Untoxicated Podcast. You've got this, and we've got you.